The room was silent except for the soft hum of the air system. Admiral Hyun-soo sat at the long metal table, his hands folded. Around him, the other human leaders waited. They all knew this meeting would change everything. The main screen flickered to life. A tall alien appeared, its skin blue and its eyes like black holes. This was Ambassador Veltar of the Galactic Hegemony. Behind him stood more aliens from different worlds, all united against humanity. Humans of Earth and your colonies. Veltar spoke with a voice like grinding stone. The Galactic Hegemony has made its final decision. You have 72 hours to leave all worlds beyond your home system. Pack your belongings and return to Earth. This is not a request. Captain Bora shifted in her chair. She commanded the deep spaceships that watched the galaxy's edge. And if we refuse? She asked. The alien's mouth curved into what might have been a smile. Then we will remove you by force. Your species is young and weak. You barely understand space travel. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Do not make us show you the difference between children and adults. Hyun-soo stood slowly. His gray hair caught the light from the screen. You're giving us 3 days to abandon 47 worlds. Worlds where millions of humans live. Worlds we've called home for generations. 3 days, Veltar repeated. After that, our fleets will arrive. Any humans still on those worlds will be considered invaders. We will treat them as such. The screen went dark. The room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then Taeho spoke from the corner. He was younger than the others, but his mind worked like a computer. They think we're afraid, he said simply. Maybe we should be, said Jin-A. She ran human intelligence across all the colonies. They have more ships than us. Bigger weapons. They've been fighting wars since before humans discovered fire. Hyun-soo walked to the window. Outside, Mars stretched red and endless under the dome of the space station. Have you finished the calculations, Taeho? Yes, sir. All colonies have received the hidden signals. Protocol 7 is active on every human world. Our people know what to do, Bora frowned. Protocol 7? I've never heard of that. Hyun-soo turned back to the group. His face was calm, but his eyes were different now. Harder. There are things about humanity that we've kept hidden even from ourselves. Things we hoped we'd never need to remember. He pressed a button on the table. Another screen came to life, showing data streams from across human space. Colony after colony reported the same thing. Ready and waiting. For 300 years we've been peaceful. Hyun-soo continued. We've traded with aliens. We've shared our food, our music, our art. We've been good neighbors. But we've also been preparing. Woo-jin spoke up from his corner. He was a scientist, soft-spoken and gentle. The research stations weren't just for farming and medicine, were they? No, Hyun-soo replied. Every human colony has hidden facilities. Every civilian has received basic training. Every factory can switch from making clothes to making weapons in less than a day. Jinny's eyes widened. How long have you been planning this? Since the day we met our first alien, Taeho answered. We learned about the hegemony. We learned how they treated new species. We decided that if they ever came for us, we'd be ready. Hyun-soo walked back to his chair but didn't sit. The aliens think they know us. They've watched our cities. They've seen our farms and schools. They think we're soft because we don't fight wars anymore. They don't understand that we stopped fighting each other because we found something better to prepare for. What do we tell our people? Bora asked. The truth, Hyun-soo said. That for the first time in centuries, humanity faces a real threat. And we're going to show the galaxy why that was a mistake. He pressed another button. Communication channels opened to every human world, every ship, every station. Hyun-soo's face appeared on screens across 47 star systems. My fellow humans, he began. Today, aliens demanded that we abandon our homes. They think we're weak. They think we'll run away scared. They're about to learn something important about us. On colony world after colony world, humans stopped what they were doing to listen. Farmers set down their tools. Teachers paused their lessons. Children looked up from their games. Our ancestors fought for every piece of land on Earth. They survived ice ages and plagues and wars that would break other species. They climbed out of caves and built cities. They looked at the sky and decided to make it their home. In hidden bunkers across human space, blast doors opened. Weapons that had waited for decades powered up. Shields that had never been used came online. The aliens want a war. They think it will be quick and easy. They think we'll surrender after the first battle. They don't know that humans have never surrendered to anything. Not to nature, not to disease, not to death itself. Military commanders who had spent years pretending to be farmers and teachers removed their disguises. Soldiers who had hidden among civilians stepped forward. Ships that looked like cargo haulers revealed their true purpose. So let me send a message to the Galactic Hegemony. Hyun-Soo's voice grew stronger. You declared battle. You made this choice, and now we'll show you why that was a mistake. The transmission ended. Across human space, the transformation began. It was quiet at first. Civilians walking calmly to their assigned positions, factories shutting down their peaceful production lines and starting up others, ships changing course toward defensive positions. But the aliens watching from their distant fleets didn't understand what they were seeing. They thought humans were panicking. They thought the colonies were preparing to evacuate. They were wrong. In the command center on Mars, Hyun-Soo looked at his officers. Send the recall signal to all deep space scouts. Tell our ships to fall back to defensive positions. Sir, Bora asked, are we really going to fight the entire galaxy? Hyun-Soo smiled, and for the first time in years it wasn't a peaceful smile. Captain, we're not going to fight the galaxy. We're going to teach it. Outside the station, human ships began moving, not running away but taking positions. Getting ready. The war was about to begin. 24 hours after the ultimatum, the galaxy began to see what humans really were. On the farming world of New Seoul, Da-un stood in what used to be a wheat field. The golden crops were gone now, harvested by machines in the night. In their place, rows of metal structures rose from the ground like mechanical flowers. Each one was a weapons platform that had been hidden beneath the soil for 30 years. Colonial Administrator Da-un, her assistant said, reading from a data pad. The transformation is complete. All civilian areas are now military zones. Da-un smiled. She had spent 15 years pretending to care about crop yields and weather patterns. It felt good to drop the act. I haven't been a colonial administrator for a very long time, she said. My real rank is commander, and these aren't farms anymore. Across the colony, humans moved with purpose. Children who had played in gardens yesterday now helped adults load ammunition. Teachers who had given lessons about peace now explained how to operate shield generators. The colony's gentle farmers revealed themselves as trained soldiers. In the underground command center that nobody had known existed, Woo-jin worked at a bank of computers. The soft-spoken scientist was gone. In his place sat a man who understood weapons better than most people understood breathing. Defensive systems are online, he reported to Da-un. The orbital platforms are ready. The planetary shields are at full power. What about the factories? Converting now. By tomorrow, we'll be producing battle armor instead of farming equipment, weapons instead of tools, military rations instead of food for export. Da-un nodded. And the other colonies? Woo-jin's fingers moved across the controls. Data flowed from 46 other worlds. Same story everywhere. Colony New Busan has revealed its shipbuilding facilities. New Daegu is producing fighter craft. The mining worlds are manufacturing ammunition. How did we hide all this? We didn't hide it, Woo-jin explained. We built it in plain sight. Every farm had underground bunkers. Every factory was designed to switch production. Every civilian learned 2 jobs. One for peace, one for war. Meanwhile, in deep space, Captain Bora's fleet was pulling back toward human territory. But they weren't running. They were gathering information. Her ships had spent decades exploring the galaxy, making friends with aliens, learning their languages and customs. Now that knowledge had a different purpose. Report, Bora said to her communications officer, Sun-ho. We've mapped every major alien fleet, Sun-ho replied. We know their weapons, their tactics, their supply lines. We also know something else. What? They're scared. Not of our ships or our weapons. They're scared because our colonies aren't evacuating. The alien scouts expected to see panic and refugees. Instead, they're seeing humans taking defensive positions. Bora looked at the star charts. Red dots showed alien fleets moving toward human space. Blue dots showed human positions. The numbers were not in humanity's favor. Do they know what they're really facing? No, Sun-ho said. They still think we're just stubborn farmers and traders. They don't understand that every human colony is actually a military base. They don't know that every civilian is a trained soldier. Back on Mars, Admiral Hyun-Soo met with his inner circle. Ginny spread intelligence reports across the table. The aliens were moving faster than expected. First contact in 18 hours, she said. 3 alien fleets approaching the outer colonies. Each fleet has enough firepower to destroy a planet. Which colonies? Hyunsu asked. New Gwangju, New Ulsan, and New Jeju. Small farming worlds. The aliens probably think they'll be easy targets. Taeho looked up from his calculations. Those colonies have been asking for permission to reveal their true nature. The colonists are excited. Excited? Jinae couldn't hide her surprise. They've been pretending to be peaceful farmers for decades, Hyunsu explained. Do you know how hard it is for humans to pretend they're not warriors? These people have been waiting their whole lives for this moment. On New Gwangju, the colonists were indeed excited. Mi Young, who had spent 20 years teaching children about friendship and cooperation, now stood in a command center wearing military uniform. Her students were grown up now, and they remembered both sets of lessons she had taught them. Alien fleet detected, her radar operator reported. 12 ships approaching fast. Are they trying to communicate? Yes, they're demanding immediate surrender. Mi Young thought about her years as a teacher, about the children she had raised, about the gentle life she had pretended to live. Send them our response. The message went out to the alien fleet. We are human. We do not surrender. Come and take our world if you can. The alien commander probably expected the humans to run. Instead, the planet's surface lit up with defensive fire. Weapons that had been hidden for decades opened up on the approaching ships. The aliens found themselves fighting not helpless farmers, but a military force that had been preparing for this exact battle. Within hours, similar scenes played out across human space. Every colony revealed its true nature. Every human dropped their peaceful mask and showed what they really were, the descendants of the most successful predators in Earth's history. But the transformation wasn't just military. It was psychological. For generations, humans had forced themselves to be peaceful. They had buried their aggressive instincts. They had pretended that cooperation was their natural state. Now they remembered what they really were. And it felt like coming home. Dong Hyun, working in the Psychological Warfare Division, watched the reports coming in. The aliens are confused, he told his team. They expected farmers and traders. Instead, they're fighting soldiers who seem to enjoy battle. Is that a problem? Someone asked. For the aliens? Yes, they're not prepared for an enemy that fights harder when things get difficult. Most species get weaker under pressure. Humans get stronger. As the first day of fighting ended, the results were clear. 3 alien fleets had attacked human colonies. All 3 had been destroyed or forced to retreat. The humans had revealed weapons the aliens didn't know existed. More importantly, they had revealed a mindset the aliens couldn't understand. The galaxy was beginning to realize that humanity had been lying to them for centuries, not about their technology or their numbers, but about their basic nature. They weren't peaceful explorers who happened to live in space. They were predators who had been patiently waiting for the right moment to hunt. And now that moment had come. The third day of the war changed everything. Not because of the battles, but because of what the humans did between the battles. Sun Ho sat in his communication center aboard Captain Bora's flagship. His job had once been simple. Talk to aliens, make friends, learn about their cultures. Now he had a different mission. He was broadcasting human history to every alien fleet in the galaxy. Begin transmission, Bora ordered. Sun Ho's fingers moved across the controls. Across space, alien ships received the same signal. It started with images from Earth's past. Humans with stone tools, hunting creatures much larger than themselves. Humans surviving ice ages that killed most other life. Humans building cities from the ruins of war. This is what you're fighting. Sun Ho's voice accompanied the images. We are the children of survivors. Our ancestors faced extinction a dozen times and refused to die. They fought saber-toothed cats with pointed sticks. They crossed oceans in wooden boats. They climbed mountains because they were there. The next images showed human wars, not the clean, organized conflicts of most alien species, but the brutal, desperate fights that had shaped humanity for thousands of years. Soldiers charging into machine gun fire, cities burning while people fought in the streets, humans killing each other with tools designed for nothing but death. We fought each other for 50,000 years, Sun Ho continued. We invented new ways to kill. We perfected the art of war. We turned murder into science. We did this to each other, our own species. What do you think we'll do to you? Aboard an alien cruiser, Commander Zethvar watched the transmission with growing horror. His species, the Corvians, had fought 3 wars in their entire history. They considered themselves fierce warriors, but the images from human history showed them warfare beyond their imagination. Turn it off, he ordered his communications officer. Sir, it's on all channels. We can't block it. The transmission continued. Now it showed human science, diseases that killed millions turned into weapons. Atoms split apart to destroy cities. Chemicals that melted flesh. Humans hadn't just learned to fight. They had learned to fight themselves. We stopped these wars only recently, Sun Ho explained. We didn't stop because we became peaceful. We stopped because we ran out of enemies on our own world. We needed something else to fight. Something worthy of our attention. The images changed again. Now they showed space exploration. Humans strapping themselves to controlled explosions and shooting into the void. Walking on dead worlds in thin suits. Building homes in places that wanted to kill them. We came to the stars not for peace but for conquest. We just didn't tell you that. We let you think we were traders and farmers because it was easier, because we weren't ready yet. Now we are. Young Sik was leading the assault fleets that were hunting alien ships through hyperspace. His ships moved differently than alien vessels. Where aliens formed neat formations and followed predictable patterns, human ships moved like wolf packs. They scattered, regrouped, struck from unexpected angles. Target the command ship, Young Sik ordered. His fleet had found an alien supply convoy trying to reach the front lines. The aliens probably expected a direct attack, ship against ship. Instead, the humans did something else. They captured the convoy without destroying it. They took the alien crews prisoner and showed them the same recordings that Sun Ho was broadcasting. Then they let them go. Tell your commanders what you saw, Young Sik told the terrified alien captain. Tell them what humans really are. This was psychological warfare on a scale the galaxy had never seen. Most species fought for territory or resources. They followed rules. They stopped fighting when they won or lost. Humans were doing something different. They were fighting for the aliens' minds. Mi Young had been assigned to a special task, interrogating captured alien officers. But she wasn't torturing them or threatening them. She was educating them. Do you know about the Battle of Stalingrad? She asked a Valethian commander who had been captured when his ship was disabled. The alien shook its head. Its 6 eyes showed confusion and fear. Human city, under siege for almost 2 years. The humans inside were starving, freezing, dying. They ate leather boots and tree bark. They fought building by building, room by room. When they ran out of ammunition, they used broken glass and metal pipes. When they ran out of those, they used their bare hands. She showed him pictures from the battle. Humans fighting in ruins, their faces gaunt with hunger but their eyes burning with determination. They could have surrendered, Mi Young continued. It would have saved lives. It would have been logical. Instead, they fought until the enemy gave up and went home. This is how humans fight when they're losing. What do you think we do when we're winning? The alien said nothing. It couldn't speak. The images had broken something in its mind. Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out. Human special forces were capturing alien ships not to steal them, but to show their crews human war documentaries. Human psychologists were studying alien psychology and finding new ways to terrify them. Dong Hyun had discovered something interesting about most alien species. They fought wars to win them quickly. Their psychology was built for short, decisive conflicts. The idea of a war that lasted years or decades was literally unthinkable to them. Show them the 100 Years' War, he told his team. Show them the 30 Years' War. Show them World War I. Show them that humans have fought single battles that lasted longer than some alien species have existed. The effect was devastating. Alien fleets began receiving reports from their own scouts and prisoners. Reports about a species that seemed to enjoy warfare. That got stronger under pressure. That had turned killing into an art form. Some aliens simply refused to believe it. How could a species that made beautiful music and grew flowers be the same species that had invented napalm and nuclear weapons? Others began to understand. The humans hadn't been lying about their culture. They really did love art and music and peaceful farming. They just also loved war. They were capable of both extremes in ways that other species couldn't comprehend. He Jin, who had spent years as a diplomatic liaison, was now coordinating the psychological campaigns. She watched the reports coming in from across the galaxy. 17 alien fleets have requested permission to withdraw, she told Admiral Hyun-soo. They're not asking for terms or negotiation. They just want to leave. Granted, Hyun-soo replied. Let them go. Let them spread the word. Sir, we could destroy them. They're retreating in disorder. No, dead aliens can't tell stories. We want the rest of the galaxy to know what happens when you declare war on humans. We want them to understand the choice they made. By the end of the third day, the character of the war had changed completely. It was no longer about territory or politics. It had become a lesson in psychology. The aliens were learning that humans were not just another species with ships and weapons. They were something else entirely. They were predators who had been pretending to be prey, and now they were hunting. By the fifth day, the aliens realized they had not declared war on traders and farmers. They had awakened something that had been sleeping in the darkness between stars. Young Six hunting packs were everywhere now. His ships moved through hyperspace like ghosts, appearing where aliens least expected them. They didn't fight like any species the galaxy had ever seen. They adapted. "Report," Young Six said to his tactical officer, Kyung-ho. "We've captured another hegemony cruiser," Kyung-ho replied. "The crew surrendered when they saw our ships approaching. They're too scared to fight. What about their weapons? We've studied them. Their shield technology is actually inferior to ours. Their weapons are powerful but inflexible. They can't adapt to new tactics," Young Sik nodded. This was the difference between humans and other species. Aliens built weapons for the wars they expected to fight. Humans built weapons that could change as the war changed. "Send the technical data to command," he ordered, "and prepare boarding teams." "We're taking their ship." The boarding was almost peaceful. The alien crew watched in terrified silence as humans moved through their ship like they owned it. Within hours, human engineers had figured out how every system worked. They didn't just capture the ship, they improved it. Wu Jin, the scientist who had pretended to study farming, was now reverse engineering alien technology. But he wasn't just copying it. He was making it better. "Their energy weapons are based on plasma containment," he explained to a team of human engineers. "It's elegant but limited. We can modify the design to be 3 times more powerful and half the size." "How?" one of the engineers asked. "They think in straight lines. They build for one purpose. Humans think in spirals. We build things that can become other things. Look at this." Wu Jin showed them the alien weapon design, then his human modification. Where the alien version was a careful, balanced system, the human version was aggressive and adaptable. It could be a ship weapon, a ground weapon, or a tool depending on what was needed. "They're engineers," Wu Jin said. "We're inventors." This pattern repeated across the galaxy. Every alien technology that humans captured became something new in their hands. Alien shields became human armor. Alien sensors became human weapons. Alien communication systems became tools for psychological warfare. Shai Jin was coordinating these capture operations from her command center. She had been a diplomat for 20 years, learning alien languages and customs. Now she used that knowledge to predict where alien fleets would go and what they would do. "The Corvian Third Fleet is falling back to the Rigel system," she reported to Admiral Hyun-soo. "They're trying to regroup with their allies." "How do you know?" "Their commander follows traditional Corvian military doctrine. When faced with an unknown enemy, they retreat to defensive positions and wait for reinforcements. It's what their training manuals say to do." Hyun-soo smiled. "And we've read their training manuals. All of them. We've had diplomatic access to alien military academies for decades. We know how every species in the hegemony fights. They don't know how we fight because we've never shown them." This was humanity's greatest advantage. For generations, they had watched and learned while pretending to be harmless. They knew alien psychology, alien tactics, alien weaknesses. The aliens knew nothing about human capabilities. Sora was broadcasting this advantage to every human ship in the galaxy. Her communications reached from the front lines to the hidden bases, coordinating an attack that spanned dozens of star systems. "Phase 3 is go," she announced. "All units begin simultaneous operations." Across the galaxy, human forces struck at the same moment. Not at random targets, but at carefully chosen points that would cause maximum psychological damage. They attacked supply depots that aliens thought were secret. They intercepted communications that aliens thought were secure. They appeared in systems that aliens thought were safe. The message was clear. Humans were everywhere, and nowhere was beyond their reach. On the alien homeworld of Corvin Prime, the ruling council watched reports flood in from across their territory. Fleet after fleet reported contact with human forces. Ship after ship was captured or destroyed. Base after base went silent. "How many humans are there?" demanded Council Leader Vrathka. "Intelligence estimates put their total population at 8 billion, replied the military advisor. 8 billion? We have 12 billion on Corvin Prime alone. How can they be winning?" The advisor hesitated. Sir, it's not about numbers. It's about how they fight. Our ships follow standard tactics. Their ships do whatever works. Our crews fight until they face defeat, then surrender. Their crews fight harder when they're losing. That's impossible. No species fights harder when losing. It goes against survival instinct. Sir, with respect, human survival instinct is different. They don't survive by avoiding danger. They survive by defeating it. Meanwhile, Minho was demonstrating this difference in human psychology. He commanded the logistics fleets that kept human forces supplied across the galaxy. While alien supply lines were rigid and predictable, human logistics were fluid and adaptive. We need ammunition at the Vega system, came a request from the front lines. Supply convoy is already en route, Minho replied. They'll arrive before you need them. How did you know we'd need supplies there? We didn't. We sent supplies everywhere we might need them. If you don't use them, we'll move them somewhere else. This was how humans fought, not by planning for specific scenarios, but by preparing for everything. They didn't try to predict the future. They made themselves ready for any future. Chan Wu was leading the siege fleets that surrounded alien strongholds. But his sieges were different from anything aliens had seen. He didn't try to starve them out or wear them down. He made them afraid, broadcasting, on all frequencies, his communications officer reported. Good. Make sure everyone in the system can hear. The broadcast was simple. Human ships had surrounded the alien base. The aliens could surrender now, or they could wait while humans demonstrated what happened to those who refused. As proof, Chanwu showed them recordings from other systems where aliens had chosen to fight. The recordings showed human forces taking alien bases with terrifying efficiency. Not just defeating them, but doing it in ways that seemed impossible. Humans fighting in vacuum without suits. Human soldiers continuing to attack after being wounded. Human commanders making tactical decisions that violated every rule of warfare, but somehow worked. You have 1 hour to decide, Chanwu announced to the aliens. After that, we show you why resistance is futile. Most of the aliens surrendered within 30 minutes. By the end of the 5th day, the pattern was clear across the galaxy. Humans weren't just winning battles. They were rewriting the rules of warfare. They fought like nothing the aliens had ever encountered. They adapted instantly to new situations. They turned every alien advantage against its creators. Most importantly, they seemed to be enjoying themselves. While alien morale collapsed under the stress of constant defeat, human morale grew stronger with each victory. They weren't fighting because they had to. They were fighting because they were finally able to show what they really were. The galaxy was beginning to understand that humanity had been holding back for centuries. Not because they were weak, but because they were dangerous. Now that they had been forced to reveal their true nature, there was no putting it back in the box. The hunters had been revealed, and everything else was prey. The 7th day brought something the galaxy had never seen: humans who had stopped pretending to be civilized. Chan Wu stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the main screen. Below them turned the blue-green world of Valeth Prime, homeworld of the species that had started this war. His siege fleet surrounded the planet like a metal net. Nothing could get in or out. Status report, he ordered. All orbital defenses destroyed, his tactical officer reported. Planetary shields at 15% and falling. Ground defenses are requesting permission to surrender. Chan Wu nodded. The Valethians had fought bravely, but they fought like aliens, organized, predictable, following their training. Humans fought like humans, adaptive, unpredictable, using whatever worked. Open a channel to the planet. The main screen shifted to show the Valethian High Command. The aliens looked tired and afraid. Their perfect military uniforms were wrinkled. Their confident expressions had been replaced by something that might have been despair. This is Supreme Commander Velnath of the Valethian Empire, the lead alien said. We request terms for surrender. Chan Wu studied them for a moment. These were the aliens who had demanded human surrender just 1 week ago. They had been so certain of their superiority, so confident that humans would run rather than fight. No terms, Chan Wu replied simply. The aliens looked confused. We don't understand. You must have terms. All civilized species have terms for surrender. We're not civilized, Chan Wu said. We've been pretending to be civilized for your benefit. That pretense is over. You declared war on us. Now you face the consequences. On the planet below, Valethian leaders watched their screens in growing horror. They had studied human culture for decades. Humans built beautiful cities, made wonderful art, wrote poetry about peace and love. How could these be the same creatures that were now systematically destroying their entire military? The answer was simple: humans were both. They could create beauty, and they could create destruction with equal skill. The aliens had only seen one side of human nature. Now they were seeing the other. Yunji was coordinating the planetary assault from her command ship. She had spent 15 years as a cultural liaison, teaching alien children about human art and music. Now she was teaching alien soldiers about human warfare, broadcasting, surrender demand on all channels. Her communications officer announced, "Good, make sure every Valethian can hear it." The message was the same one the aliens had sent to humans 1 week earlier. "You have 72 hours to surrender completely. Lay down your weapons. Submit to our authority. Resistance will be met with overwhelming force." But there was one addition. At the end of the message, Yunji spoke directly to the Valethian people. "You wanted to see our true nature," she said. "You pushed us until we had no choice but to show you what we really are. We are the children of predators. We are survivors who climbed to the top of our world's food chain and then looked for new worlds to conquer. You gave us that chance." The psychological effect was devastating. Valethians had built their entire culture around the idea that they were the galaxy's natural leaders. They had ruled other species for thousands of years. Now they were learning what it felt like to be the prey instead of the predator. Jiwan was analyzing intelligence reports from across the galaxy. The pattern was the same everywhere. Alien resistance was collapsing not because humans had better weapons, but because aliens were losing the will to fight. 17 more systems have surrendered without battle, she reported to Admiral Hyun-soo. The aliens are abandoning their positions before our forces even arrive. What about the core worlds? Mixed results. The military leaders want to keep fighting, but their civilian populations are demanding surrender. They've seen what happened to the worlds that resisted. Hyun-soo nodded. This was exactly what human strategists had predicted. Alien psychology was built for quick wars with clear outcomes. They couldn't handle a conflict where the enemy seemed to grow stronger with each battle. Any word from the Hegemony Council? They're requesting a meeting. They want to negotiate. Tell them the same thing we told the Valethians: no terms, complete surrender or continued warfare. Bora was leading the final assault on the Hegemony's main fleet. For 6 days, the alien forces had retreated deeper into their own territory. Now they had nowhere left to run. They were making their last stand in the Centauri Nebula, where they thought the cosmic dust would hide them from human sensors. They were wrong. Human ships moved through the nebula like they had been designed for it. They used the dust clouds for cover, striking from unexpected angles. They fought in 3 dimensions while the aliens still thought in terms of flat battle lines. Enemy formation is breaking apart, her tactical officer reported. They're trying to scatter. Let them, Bora ordered. We're not here to destroy ships. We're here to capture them. This was the final demonstration of human superiority. They didn't need to kill their enemies. They could take them prisoner, study their technology, learn their secrets. They could show mercy when they chose to, not because they had to. The alien fleet commander, Admiral Keth Moore, watched his ships being captured one by one. His weapons were more powerful than human weapons. His ships were larger and more heavily armored. By every logical measure, he should have been winning. But logic had nothing to do with it. Humans didn't fight logically. They fought creatively. They turned his advantages into disadvantages. They made him fight their war instead of his own. "Sir," his communications officer said, "the humans are offering us safe passage if we surrender. And if we refuse, they'll take our ships anyway. But they'll let us live to tell others what happened here." Kethmore looked at his remaining forces. Half his fleet was already captured. His crews were demoralized and exhausted. The humans showed no signs of fatigue or frustration. If anything, they seemed to be having fun. "Signal surrender," he ordered quietly. Across the galaxy, the pattern repeated. One by one, alien fleets and worlds gave up the fight. Not because they had been defeated in single battles, but because they had been broken psychologically. The humans had shown them something that violated their understanding of how warfare worked. Humans didn't follow the rules. They made new rules as they went. They treated war not as a necessary evil, but as an art form to be perfected. Sora was coordinating the surrender ceremonies across dozens of worlds. Each one followed the same pattern. Alien leaders formally submitted to human authority. Human commanders accepted their surrender with quiet professionalism. But the real message was in what humans didn't do. They didn't execute prisoners. They didn't destroy cities. They didn't commit the atrocities that aliens had expected from such fierce warriors. Instead, they showed restraint. They demonstrated that their capacity for violence was matched by their capacity for mercy. They proved that they had chosen to reveal their true nature, not been forced to by desperation. This might have been the most terrifying revelation of all. Humans had been capable of this level of warfare all along. They had simply chosen not to use it until they were forced to defend themselves. As the seventh day ended, the war was effectively over. The galactic hegemony still existed on paper, but its power was broken. Alien species across the galaxy were coming to terms with a new reality. Humanity was no longer the junior species asking for acceptance. They were the apex predators of the galaxy. And they were just getting started. The final phase would determine what kind of galaxy humanity wanted to build. The aliens had learned what humans could do when threatened. Soon they would learn what humans did when they won.